Hi there. I am actually, oh wait, 1 second. Oh, okay. I am actually on a business trip. I'm so far away. Oh. I have this phone propped on a window where all this light's coming from. Flew into New Orleans and then I drove to Baton Rouge, which was about an hour and 15 minutes this time of day. It was like 1 o'clock. I did actually stop in New Orleans and found a parking garage. I tried to park my rental car parallel parking in a very skinny street in a rental car that I wasn't used to, a Toyota Prius, and I quickly found out that I didn't know how to put it in reverse because the gear shift's a little different, and as in there is no parking P. And once I finally got it into reverse after people were waiting for me, I just couldn't do the angle because I was flustered, so I gave it up. But anyway, I parked in a parking garage. It's exactly what I thought it would be. It's too stinking hot in August to be walking around. I needed a hat and I didn't have one. I found this beautiful restaurant to have lunch. I had a seared tuna salad. It was called the Palace Cafe, and it's one of those early 1910s, 1920s cafe with the black and white tiled floors and the cane chairs. Oh my gosh, I never appreciated air conditioning. Well, there was one other time that I appreciated air conditioning as much, but that was something. Anyway, I parked near Crescent City Books. It's a used bookstore, but it's also like an antiquarian bookstore, so it's got that section. It can look quite intimidating when you walk in. I couldn't take any pictures because the other thing that happened was I found out with the Prius that I don't have the right chargers to plug into whatever their charge outlets are. They're not normal. So I had to stop in town after I was at Crescent City Books to buy one of those cigarette lighter chargers, which I should just carry with me, but I didn't. So I didn't have any juice in my phone. I really didn't, and I didn't want to turn it on, but I'll post some photos that I saw online. It's a tiny little shop, but it was fun. Now, these are not, thrift store used book prices. You're going to pay half the price of the book, but I'm fine with that if I'm out of town and I just want to find a memento. But I had said that I brought A Certain Smile by Francoise Sagan, which I read the introduction on the plane, and that was really cool. I like to read or watch nonfiction stuff, so the introduction, the story about Francoise Sagan writing the second book after Bonjour Tristesse was really good. And then I have been reading The Details by Aya Genberg, translated by Kira Josephson. I think this is Swedish. It says winner of the August Prize. Let's see. Yeah, Sweden. I think this is a new release. It's been interesting. I'm halfway through. It's a story about nothing, really no plot, just about the main character. I don't know if she's even named. It talks about this unique relationship she had with a radio show host, somebody who becomes more and more famous in their career. So this woman's name was Johanna, and how that ended. But then it also goes on to talk about other actual friendships that she had, this friend that she talks about, Nikki. I guess there's going to be another person named Alejandro. I do like the writing. I have to say, as much as it's not really about anything, it's not a huge standout. I don't think I'll remember it after I read it really, but it's fine for now. Fredrik Backman actually has a blurb on the back. One of our finest examples of Swedish literature. So what did I get at that bookstore? I found a Rosamund Lehmann. I don't think I've read a Rosamund Lehmann. And it's one of those Oda, what's the French name for this beautiful minty green that they call this? Rosamund Lehmann's novel, Dusty Answer. I had to get it because of the title, but I have heard of this. A key book of the interwar period. This is Judith Earle's story. Her solitary childhood spent dreaming in her enchanted house by the river, her awkward, intense experiences at Cambridge, rounded with passion and disillusionment, and her travels abroad with her elegant, sophisticated mother. Let's see when this was. Oh, Rebecca West blurbed this. She uses words with the enjoyment and mastery with which Renoir used paint. Another blurb from Anita Bruckner. A true original, far in advance of most other female novelists, both among her contemporaries and those who came after. Let's see. There's the Crescent City Books, 1927, and then Penguin published it in 1936. Let's see if I can quickly find The Weather in the Streets. I hear a lot about that by Rosamund Lehmann, and I haven't read it. They did have a couple of these other ones, but yeah, this is the one that I picked. Who knows? We'll see. This beautiful Penguin edition that it's like catnip. Yeah, so that's it. I don't know if I'm going to get much reading done, except tonight. I'm only here for 2 nights, tonight and tomorrow night. I'm just going to be reading in the evening. I'm here on a work trip to visit a work site, which is outside tomorrow. I forgot my sunscreen. Or no, I didn't forget it. I couldn't find it. So I'm running over to Trader Joe's, which is right down the street, to see if they have that wonderful gel sunscreen. If you haven't tried it, I don't know if it's exactly like that Goop brand that I really love. I've had a sample of that from Sephora, but yeah, I really like it. I'll give you an update once I've read some more. Thanks for checking in. It's the next day, sitting in front of this beautiful natural light. It doesn't get any better than this, because if I'm sitting or if I'm standing by the bathroom mirror, you know how wonderful it is to get yourself together in natural light, which I never do at home just because of the way things are set up. So while I'm getting ready, I'm actually going to run through how I get ready. Skip over this part if it's not at all interesting to anybody. But you know, I don't see very often, I don't see getting ready videos that much. I mean, just of ordinary people, not of like more popular people. But I don't see getting ready videos very often of people who are like 59, you know? So I'll be 59 in a month and a half or something. So, and I mean, I haven't figured everything out about older skincare. So that's the other thing. Like I don't have any secrets, as you'll see, or as you can see. But what I do is when I'm traveling, I take most of the time, if I have a smaller, and I'm only gone for a few days, if I have a smaller jar of eye cream, like just cream for your eyes area, then I just take that and I just use it everywhere just as a way to conglomerate things. And then I've already done an eyebrow pencil and I've already done moisturizer. I haven't done the sunscreen yet. I actually wait and put that on before I go out because I have this wonderful Trader Joe's gel that I told you about. I did go and get it. And it's so lightweight. You can just put it over everything. And I just wait until I go out to do that. Here's my eyebrow pencil. It's this company called Honest or something. And I'm not a eyebrow pencil fanatic. I just find something that's very like blonde. This is taupe. And if it's looks halfway decent and it looks like it's the right lighter color, and especially if it's on clearance, like at Target, then I buy it. Because I have other things. I have like eyebrow powder and all that, but I just find that I don't use it. So I'm also on the search, always on the search for under eye concealer that does the right thing without being, you know, causing too much. And this happens to be Lancome, but I don't even know where I would have gotten this except probably Sephora. But I've tried a whole bunch. If any of you have recommendations for older skin, let me know. This is a sponge that was a part of a larger sponge, and I just cut them to get a, you know, a corner because I can't use a bulky sponge. And why do the sponges cost so much money now? I don't know. I want to spend like $1 on a sponge. But they're more than that. So as far as what I'm reading, oh, and by the way, because I'm older, I'm only going to put this concealer. It's going to look really garish right now. Hopefully not during the day will it look garish. But I'm going to put it just on here, not on the puffy part of my eyes, because that will settle down and it looks better later. But if you put concealer on the puffy parts of your eyes, yeah, it's not good. I have this reoccurring blemish right there. I have no idea what that's about. And then I just have like a darker red spot there. But that's all I do there. This brush is already semi-loaded because I don't use a lot of powder. I don't think older skin should have a lot of powder on it. And so this is already like loaded a little bit with, and I just, the lightest little thing, what's that called? Smashbox or something? Powder, and I just like, and then I use this, you know, for quite a while. This is also loaded with a Bobbi Brown bronzer or contour bronzer thing. And yeah, I don't do a lot with that. Less is better, my friends who are over 55. I can guarantee you that. So reading, I read a little bit last night of the book by Aya Genberg. I'm going to hold it up in a second. This is a Salma Hayek eyeshadow. Whenever I see this in the drugstore, because I love this, and this is fine too, I pick it up. I don't even know if they make this anymore. It's the perfect, I have like smaller eyelids that aren't, you know, set in or whatever. I can't really see, I don't know how people do this because I can't really see what I'm doing, but I don't, I'm going to be out in the hotness today, so I don't really need to be that specific. The Details by Aya Genberg. I started reading it again and it just further reiterated the fact that, I mean, I don't need a plot for a book, and I really liked the writing in the beginning and that intense relationship she was talking about with Joanna. But after that, and even Nikki to a certain degree, but not really, and now it's going to go on to Alejandro. Right when I wanted a hurricane, there was a hurricane. So every once in a while, her writing is really unique and I like it, but I don't know if I'm going to keep on going with this. Oh my gosh. Rosamund Lehmann, Dusty Answer. I guess it's called Dusty Answer because I noticed the very beginning says, "Ah, what a dusty answer gets the soul when hot for certainties in this our life." George Meredith. I'm gonna have to think on that a little bit because that's still not making too much sense to me. But what I'm noticing in this book is Rosamund Lehmann. She is so talented in her, it's almost like a poet's writing to me. That's how it feels to me. Like if you just read the first, I don't know what I'm on, 10 pages of this story of her talking about these children that she grew up with next door and how she weaves in very particular things about each of their personalities when they were young and then when they were a little bit older young people. There's, I think, 2 boys and 2 girls, and they shared a governess, and there was only Judith, this is the narrator, in the one house next door. And it's not like she just goes, and Charles was like this, and Julian was like this. She weaves in stories that so eloquently and gently and expertly give you details through examples and then just through her talking about how they're put together. It's incredible. Okay, what I'm using now. I Love by Sephora. I really like the Sephora brand. I like looking for the store brands in Sephora and Ulta. Again, with the finger, I just do a little bit of like the highlighter thing up there. And I think this is going to look weird in the camera, but promise you, it's not as garish as it's looking right now. And then I use a mix of the two brownish. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to do it on this. I'm going to do it on my actual mirror. And I just create that concave thing. Concave? Contrast. I don't know. Tap, tap. And so I'm already, the way that Rosamund Lehmann is setting up the story, and I'll go into more of the story later after I get more than 10 pages in, I have found another author that I think I'm really going to get into. And I just listened to the backlisted episode. From 2017, I searched for Rosamund Lehmann, and they talked about the weather in the streets with the author Elizabeth Day. So, yeah, I'm blocking the view, but yeah, I mean, one of the issues is as you get older, your eyelids start to droop. So this part of the highlight starts to become lower. I guess that's why people have the eye lifts. But you gotta go with it. What else are you gonna do? I still create, but blending is really important because you will end up looking garish. I wanted to tell you that one of my favorites, so I have fine hair, and when I blow dry it, because I'm not a professional stylist and I don't like to take very much time blow drying my hair, even though I'm using a brush trying to like settle it down, it's still frizzy. And then I use like a either a fat curling iron or a straight iron to, you know, just try to get the frizz out and settle it down. But before I do that straight iron thing, I've used this stuff, J Beverly Hills Shaper. And I get it on Amazon now. I don't know where I saw it. It was at a salon years ago. And just the tiniest bit, because remember, I have fine hair, so just like tiny bit, because it would weigh it down. So trust me, this is not heavy. You can make it, I guess, heavier if you wanted to, but light touch. Eyeliner. Yeah, so a couple things. I was using this, Tattoo Studio, Maybelline Tattoo Studio. I just want to use like the very smudgy, very light, mostly on the top. But I like this smudge end. So I picked up this when I was in Ulta with my daughter, who steered me to ColourPop. And it says cream gel liner, and it's waterproof. So I guess like once you put it on, it sets or something. But one of the things that happens with me and with a lot of people is it just kind of melts off after a while. But I'm on Zoom all day. So once I have, you know, I can do minimal stuff, you know? And so I put a little bit at the lash line and then a little bit at the lash line. Please let me know if you're an older person and you have any makeup recommendations, cosmetic or skincare. I will talk about that in a second, because I guess I can't do two things at the same time. Skincare, I use Tatcha moisturizer in the purple, but then I do pick up samples or the travel size at Sephora of other brands just to shake it up, like that eye cream that I have. And I use, I'm going to say it wrong, Dr. Hauschka you can get it at Whole Foods, line of, like, they've got this wonderful, very finely granules of exfoliator. It's so fine because I have sensitive skin and I've used it for years, and I will link the brand because I'm saying it wrong. But that tube lasts you forever. It might look like it's expensive, but you're going to have it a long time. And then for body moisturizer, I switch off and on. Right now I'm using, what's it called? Skin Food by a brand that begins with a W. And then I really like Drunk Elephant's peptide, whatever. It's $20 for a pretty big bottle. I'm going to do these things after I'm done talking to you because I just want to be up close in the mirror. But I will talk about them. I have 2 eyelash curlers because my eyelashes are just fading away. And I used to use something that made them grow, but I'm not using that right now. Especially my left eye hardly has any eyelashes on it. So I'm like, oh, I just want them curled and I want to make the most of them. And I got this eyebrow eyelash curler from a company called Face. I think it's Swedish, and it was in a shop in Hudson, New York. And then just a Tweezerman, which I don't love, but this really gives it a real crimp, and then this is more rounded. So I don't know. I want to conglomerate that at some point. But anyway, let's see. What am I missing? So I'm going to do that in a second. The one last thing is this wonderful highlighter stuff. It's by a company called I Heart Revolution. It's Revolution Beauty Rose Gold Glow. My daughter got me this for years. Like, I've had this for years. And she got me this. I would have never picked this up. And then it's got peachy and yellow, and I just go, sometimes I do the mirror because it's got a little, and I just do this. Notice I'm not using any blush because I just feel like my skin is so fair that by putting that bronzer, little bronzer, and then this, like, that's it for now. I'm gonna do this in a second. Ugh. Those are the book updates. I'll check in after today. Talk to you later. I forgot to show you what mascara I use, which I always want to hear about. I want to hear about mascara now because I have fewer eyelashes that don't hold curl very much, especially the left eye that I said doesn't have very many eyelashes. I can't have a mascara that's too wet, that's too runny and wet, because it automatically just takes off the curl. That's going to happen anyway to my eyelashes during the day pretty consistently, but I need something that's thick, that's got body. That's usually these, like a mini or a sample mascara from Sephora. And this one is called Tarte. I mean, the brand is Tarte, and it's called Big Ego. So it's a mini, which I love buying because then they're cheaper, but you're getting this brand pretty chunky, you know? It's been working for me. I need to get another one because I've had this, I have them and use them too long. So that's that. And then lips. I always do something with my lips when I'm in these camera meetings and then just daily. And recently I've been using this stuff called Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. Yeah, it's a mask. It's supposed to be used at night. I never think about that. I just use it as a lip gloss. Yeah, it's probably going to make my lips peel at some point, but it's not like an exfoliator. It's just like a gloss. And they have different scents. And this one is berry. And, you know, it's light. I have had this, I'm a big Bobbi Brown fan, the makeup line. So I've had, you know, I have the Bobbi Brown bronzer thing, and then I have Bobbi Brown, this chunky lip crayon, art stick it's called. And this is Bare. And that's usually like, I don't use lipstick. I just want to define my lips a little bit. And this is looking, you have to have a special sharpener for this thing. I do, but I just, I don't have it with me. You know, lip color fades as you get older, and I want it to be a natural look, but I do want it to be defined, and that's that's it. Lastly, I don't use perfume or really anything with scent, but years ago, we went to this yoga retreat center that we go to as much as we can, but we haven't been there for a while because of the pandemic. And they have a beautiful gift shop, and that's where I discovered Dr. Hauschka, pronouncing it wrong, skin line. And they, now sell it at Whole Foods. I also picked up this thing that you're not going to be able to see, not even when I do that. It's called the Goddess line. It's an oil. This is the exact kind of thing that they sell at Kripalu Yoga Retreat Center. I get the scent, so this is a roll-on fragrance oil, super light, as you would imagine. I get the scent called Parvati because this thing lasts me for years because I don't use it every day. I don't use it when I'm working from home and all of that, but it's just the lightest little thing, and I just put it here and that's the end of it. I sometimes take it with me when I'm traveling. I took this one because it's almost empty. I get these on Amazon now, but I can guarantee you that when I go back to Kripalu, I'm getting it there because that's where I really want to buy it, not from Amazon. But I was desperate during the pandemic to get it, and I searched for it, and I was able to get a bottle online, which I still have. Oh wait, there's a website. thegoddessline.com. I didn't know about that. It's on the bottom here. So yeah, order it from thegoddessline.com. Don't do like I did and order from Amazon. That's it. I'll check in later. I'm back from my day. Weird hotel noises, loud water from next door. I'm back from my day out on the road and various other places for my work site visit. I'm in, but when we were walking around, the heat just cooks you from front, back, everywhere. It's just insane. I'm not used to it here in Baton Rouge. I will have inserted already some footage that I took at 2nd and Charles, which is next door to the Trader Joe's. I was running over to the Trader Joe's this evening, and I don't know what I didn't see this before when I stopped at the Trader Joe's, that there was a 2nd and Charles, which for those of you that don't know, it's like a used bookstore, books of all kinds, graphic novels, manga, and then it's got video games, board games, things connected with those things like figurines, and I thought it would be more like banged up and used books and that it would be a smaller inventory of books, but no, it's full blown. Maybe that's because it's near LSU. I picked up a little souvenir for our Tuki. So she loves toys with ribbons. She will just be working on this for a long time. Thanks for joining me on this non-reading blog. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining in. Home. I wanted to wrap up by giving an update on the 2 books that I was reading when I was gone. Still really tired. Travel of any kind just tires me out, but thankfully it's the weekend now. It's Labor Day weekend. Get a little, I was going to say recuperate, but so the 2 books I was reading, well, I took with me this one, A Certain Smile, by Francoise Sagan. Again, the author of Bonjour Tristesse. She wrote this a couple years after, and it took 2 months to write. That's what it says. That's what is talked about in the introduction also. It was kind of like, oh, she's a one-hit wonder. She wrote this when she wrote Bonjour Tristesse when she was 18. I think it was published when she was 19. And can she do that again? Was it just a fluke? I have to say that when I first started reading this, it's interesting. I didn't read the flap, not the flap, the back, the blurb, but so I didn't know what it was about going in. and it's about Dominique, this 20-year-old college student going to the Sorbonne, and she has a boyfriend named Bertrand. He introduces her to his uncle, Luc. It's interesting because you know from the beginning that Dominique doesn't, she's not fully in love with Bertrand. He's just, he's a boyfriend. She's pretty flat about, sometimes she adores him. Is that Suki in the window? Oh my gosh, that's perfect. She's in the bay window. Oh, look at that. It's one of her favorite places to look for chipmunks. She's young, it's a boyfriend. And Luc, I've tried to work out in my head, he's at least, he's about 20 years older. And then his wife, Francoise, is like 10 years younger, just based on some things that Dominique says. So Luc could be 15 years older than them, predictably. This is a French novel. They have an affair. And it's known going in, as Luc spells out, like, look, you're with Bertrand, I'm with Francoise, and that's never going to change. We're like each other, let's do this, let's have a little tryst. So the rules of engagement are set in that very French way, I guess, that we're used to thinking about anyway, this trope. And this is written in the 50s. So, and at first I thought, that's kind of icky. I don't know if I want to keep reading this. But I got to tell you, the thing that kept me going was the writing. The writing in this is just as good, I thought, as in Bonjour Tristesse. And I don't remember all the details of that, but I remember that what I do recall is the way that I felt when I was reading it, which was like, well, this is a more mature, it's got some mature themes in it. And definitely this book does a really good job of getting inside Dominique and how she experiences her feelings for Luc, what she tells herself those feelings are going to be, how she tries to be, and then what happens after they're together for a period of time. I'm not going into real details here because I think it's best if you just discover them on your own. But it really was the writing here. It's very strong. I felt like it was true. It would be the way that in the 1950s, a 20-year-old would experience conflicting feelings in her fight to not fall in love with this person, and how she hates herself for that, how she becomes good friends and really likes Francoise, and how she really wants this thing to be the experience that it's been for Luc, but because she's 20, it's not like that. And even if it has to be a different way, she really wants or thinks that this is going to be an ongoing thing and have a certain amount of importance. So that's about all I can say. There is a page that I marked near the end where she's really trying to rid herself of this feeling of being in love with Luc because it's no good. This is not part of the rules of engagement. And so she's going through that. She's trying to purge herself of this feeling that she's in love, saying, Luc doesn't love me, just to get that into her head. But even if I did have a measure of control over it, I couldn't prevent its sudden eruption, this pang, during a class or a meal with the full power to surprise and hurt me, no more than I could suppress the boredom of my shapeless, larval, daily existence, the tired, rainy mornings, the deadly classes, the futile conversations. I suffered and told myself I was suffering in an analytical or ironical way, any way at all to obliterate the lamentable evidence of an unhappy love. I love her choice of larval daily existence. This is just an example of the writing. I don't feel like it's overwritten. It's not flowery. It's very straightforward. It's very real. I highly recommend this. Then I'm a little further along with Dusty Answer by Rosamund Lehmann. My first Rosamund Lehmann. I picked this up in that New Orleans bookshop. I'll talk a little bit more about the structure of this story now. It is about Judith, who, let me see if this describes it. Her solitary childhood spent dreaming in her enchanted house by the river. Did I say the river? The river. So she grows up in this house, and beside it is another house that has a bunch of children in it. Some are related to each other and some aren't. I'm still unclear about that. The novel is about Judith's consuming relationship with a family of cousins, that's right, whose inroads into the dreams and preoccupations of her young womanhood make Dusty Answer so uniquely and tenderly subtle and true. So yeah, she is next door to a bunch of kids, they're cousins. This is between wars, it's an interwar story, but someone is going off to war in the group of children. They share a governess, so Judith is spending a lot of time with these children, and they never leave her mind. They grow up, they go off, she leaves, and or she's about to go to school. They all disperse and leave. Their parents later on pass away. And one of the children, is it Mildred? She hears a rumor that Mildred is coming back to live at the house because the war has begun now. She's a widow, has a child, and she wonders, like, is there going to be a reunion? Like, is everybody coming back? Is this going to bring everyone back? You could imagine that it does. I don't know if I'm too early in. This is in the first 10 pages that you know Mildred is coming back because she's been made a widow because of the war. So that is hopefully not a plot spoiler for you. And all I know is that the grown-ups now have converged back to the house, and they're all just so unique. As I said in that one clip, like, Lehmann is giving you a description of these grown children now, but children, there's like 5 of them or 4 of them, and by just the way that she's writing the story, she isn't just going through each person and describing them. She's creating or talking about different scenes that have happened between Judy and some of these characters that bring out how these characters are, and it's just so well done. I'm really enjoying this. I'm early in, I'm only 65 pages in, but I'm really glad I picked this up, and I'm glad that I'm discovering this author. I'm reading some other books too, but I will catch you up on those at a different time. And I'm really glad you joined me on this trip. It was really fun to have you with me to talk about these really good reads. So thanks for joining me. I would love to hear anything you have to say about these authors or any of the things that I talked about on this trip. And I hope I'll see you on another one.